All right, welcome back everybody for another deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at Chapter 10 of the Bhagavad Gita, and it's called The Yoga of Divine Glories. Now, if you were with us for Chapter 9,
Right.
that we were talking about
Yeah, some pretty heavy stuff.
some pretty heavy philosophical concepts, right?
Absolutely.
Chapter 10 takes a little bit of a turn, though, and it focuses more on how we can recognize greatness, not only in the world around us, but also within ourselves.
Yes.
And how that could be a really powerful tool for self-improvement.
I think it's fascinating how this chapter takes something that's potentially so abstract and makes it really practical. You know, the idea that the qualities that we admire in other people are reflections of the potential that's within ourselves.
I love that idea. It's like when you see something truly awe-inspiring, maybe a breathtaking view or a leader who's really making a difference in the world, it gives you a little glimpse into what's actually possible, right?
Exactly. But chapter 10 goes a bit deeper. It suggests that those feelings, those moments of awe, aren't just fleeting feelings. They're actually clues to our own untapped potential.
Oh, wow.
So to put it really simply, the qualities that make us admire certain people or their achievements are often qualities that we also possess but just haven't fully developed yet.
So it's not just about, admiring these great people from afar, but it's about using them as a mirror to better understand ourselves.
Yes.
So how do you think this idea of mirroring greatness plays out, in our everyday lives?
So think of it like this. When you see somebody showing courage in a tough situation, it might spark a recognition of your own capacity for courage. Or when you see somebody being really creative in how they're solving a problem,
Yeah,
that might remind you of times that you were resourceful or innovative yourself.
that makes a lot of sense. But I think a lot of people struggle with kind of the flip side of that, right?
Yeah.
Where it's easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to these people we admire
Yeah.
and feeling inadequate.
Abs-
So how does Chapter 10 address that?
It addresses that brilliantly through a series of metaphors.
Okay.
For example, there's a verse where Krishna says, "Among mountains, I am the Himalayas. Among rivers, I am the Ganga." And he goes on to list all these other examples of excellence. The point isn't to make us feel small or inadequate. It's to encourage us to see these pinnacles of achievement as inspiration, not as a measuring stick.
Right. So instead of saying, oh, I'll never be as great as,
Right.
we can shift our thinking to, what can I learn from this person?
Precisely, and that learning can be super practical. So for example, let's say you're inspired by somebody's resilience. Chapter 10 suggests that you already have that quality inside you,
Okay.
but maybe it's dormant. So by studying how they approach challenges, you can begin to uncover and develop your own resilience.
That's such an empowering way to look at it because it turns the whole idea of self-improvement
Yeah,
into this journey of discovery rather than trying to become something that we're not.
exactly. It's recognizing that the seeds of greatness are already within us.
Absolutely. So to kind of wrap up our deep dive into Chapter 10, I think the big takeaway is that we need to recognize greatness as a reflection of our own potential, and then use those reflections to fuel our own growth and self-improvement.
Absolutely.
And as we move on to Chapter 11 next time, here's a question for you to think about. What's one quality that you really admire in somebody else? And what's one small step you can take this week to cultivate that quality within yourself? Think about it, and we'll be back next time for another deep dive.
Sounds good.